Hello and welcome sa inyo mga learners. Welcome to another test drill on the subject animal science naman. So let's start off. Question number 1. Blank is when certain genotypes perform well under certain environments than other genotypes. Ano daw kaya ang tawag natin doon? Is it epistasis, fitness, genotype-environment interaction, or panmixia? Now we have to understand the question. It is asking about a situation kung saan a particular gene, so let's say yung gene ng hayop na yon is that fast-growing siya, can perform well in a certain environment. So in a certain environment, pwedeng lumabas yung magandang gene na yon. On an opposite environment, pwede namang hindi siya lumabas. Ano kaya ang tawag natin doon? So the answer here is genotype-environment interaction. So ano mga ba kasi ang genotype-environment interaction? This is a phenomenon kung saan different genetic makeups or different genes nagre-respond sila differently to environmental conditions. So for example, suppose you have a cow. And itong cow na to, itong cattle na to, what the good gene ng cattle na to is that it grows fast and it grows big. Okay? So meat type itong cattle na to kasi mabilis siyang lumaki and kapag lumaki siya, siya ay malaman. However, this kind of gene ng cattle is only lumalabas lang siya. It is only shown in a tropical environment. Ibig sabihin, in an environment that is kind of warm, just like the Philippines. So let's say the same cattle breed with the same genetic makeup, inilagay natin sa temperate na environment. Ano kaya ang mangyayari sa kanya? Ang possible na mangyayari sa kanya, temperate is an environment na mas malamig. Ang possible na mangyayari is hindi maa-unlock yung gene niya, which is to grow faster and bigger. This kind of breed will grow faster and bigger in a warm environment, but if we put the animal in a colder environment, hindi magpapakita yung genetic makeup na to. Maaring sa malamig na environment, siya ay payat, siya ay mabagal na lumaki. Yun ang sinasabi ng yun yung sinasabi ng phenomenon na to. Kung saan yung ating genotype, yung ating gene, and the environment interacts. And primarily, the environment will unlock a specific gene doon sa ating hayop. Napuntahan naman natin yung mga concepts na nasa choices ng number 1. Unang-una, yung tinatawag nating epistasis. Epistasis involves the interaction between different genes kung saan yung expression daw ng isang gene can be covered or altered by the expression of another gene. So how does epistasis happen? So for example, mayroon kang dalawang cattle. So ang color ng cattle na to is both black and ito yung kanilang gene, no? P na big letter means black dominant. P na small letter means orange. So yun yung recessive natin, recessive color. Yung E na malaking letter, E capital letter, allows the expression of the color or pigmentation. Whereas yung E naman na small letter, it will prevent the pigmentation of that specific color. So ibig sabihin yan, for example, ang lumalabas kasi sa color ng cattle na to would be the dominant gene. So for this example, ang dominant niya is capital B. So may capital B na gene siya, and at the same time, mayroon siyang dominant that allows the expression of that color. So in a way, itong dalawang cattle natin na to, ang color nila ay color black. Kasi parehas silang may black dominant and parehas na may gene sila that allows the pigmentation of that black color. O, tignan natin yung mga possible na magiging offspring nila. So, for this example, parehas na dominant black yung nakuha niya, and it also allows the expression of that black color. Therefore, black ang kulay ng cattle na to. How about for this one? For this one naman, mapapansin natin, nasa kanya pa rin yung dominant black color, and it also allows the expression or pigmentation of that black color, kaya black pa rin yung kanyang kulay. How about this third one? The third one, wala siyang black na gene, wala siyang dominant black gene. Ang mayroon sa kanya, dalawang recessive na gene, kaya ang color niya ay orange because mayroon din siyang gene that allows the expression or pigmentation of the orange color. Same is true with this one. Orange din ang magiging color niya kasi nga puro recessive orange color lang siya, and at the same time may gene siya that allows the pigmentation of that orange color. However, dito na nangyayari yung epistasis. What if instead of having a dominant E and recessive E, puro recessive E yung magiging gene ng hayop? Ano kaya yung magiging kulay niya? So in this case, kapag puro recessive E yung magiging gene ng hayop, it will now cover the supposed to be color of that animal. So what will happen is, maaring yung hayop mo, ang magiging kulay niya is white or light colored. So paano nangyari yon? Kasi for this specific animals, it has the recessive gene that do not allow the expression or pigmentation of your color. Kaya naman, this E gene is epistatic. Ibig sabihin, it will cover, it will mask the expression of color, whether that color is black or orange. Klaro? So yan yung concept ng epistasis. So if a cow has the genotype E, so if the cow has a genotype recessive E, ibig sabihin, two small letter E's, it will have a light colored coat regardless of whether it carries a dominant black or this one, it carries this, or even if it carries two recessive orange color. Kasi nga, ang mahalaga dito, ang nagpipredict or nagpo-point kung lalabas ba yung kulay is the E gene. Eh apparently, ang E gene natin dito, hindi niya inaalaw yung paglabas ng kulay na black or orange. Next concept. How about fitness? Ano ang fitness? So sa biology, kapag sinabi nating fitness, it refers to the organism's ability to survive, to reproduce, to pass on yung kanyang genes sa next generation. So it is often described as our reproductive success. So fit yung hayop natin if that animal is surviving and naipapasa niya yung genes niya sa mga sumusunod na generation. Ano ba ang components ng fitness? Unang-una, survivability. Pangalawa, reproductive success. So dapat nagsusurvive yung hayop, dapat nagre-reproduce siya, kasama dyan yung mating success. Kasi if the animal will not mate, hindi siya makakapag-reproduce. And at the same time, adaptability to its environment. So, for example, yung ating manok, yung ating wild jungle fowl, for example, mataas ang fitness level niya sa kanyang natural environment. Okay? And isa sa mga behavior niya is nagka-camouflage siya kasi nga nasa jungle siya to avoid predators. and mataas rin ang kanyang foraging skills para maka-adapt siya sa competition na nasa jungle. However, yung ating mga domestic chickens naman, hindi sila fit on that particular environment ni jungle fowl. Bakit? Kasi ang ating regular chicken, inaalagaan yan. Okay? Inaalagaan, binibigay kung ano yung kanilang kailangan, and at the same time, yung characteristic na naipapasa ng isang domestic chicken ay nakadepende sa kung paano siya ginagamit or kung ano yung purpose niya sa farmer. So yung mga domestic chickens natin, mostly ang fitness niyan is domesticated sila. So they are being taken good care of by humans such as. And yung gusto natin na maipasa na gene sa kanila, na maipasa sa mga offspring nila is either abundant kapag nangitlog or mabilis lumaki for meat type. So yan ang ibig sabihin naman ng fitness. How about the other term? Panmixia. So panmixia means a population kung saan all of your animals has the equal probability of mating with each other. So, for example, meron kang herd of cattle, let's say 50-50 ang population, 50% female, 50% male, tapos hinayaan mo lang sila. So, hindi mo kinontrol yung kanilang pag-breed or pag-mate with one another, then that phenomenon now is called panmixia. Kasi all of this cattle has an equal probability of mating with each other, and you are not selecting, hindi ka nangingialam dun sa process nila sa paghahanap ng mate and pag-breed. So, sa panmixia, random po ang mating dyan. Kasi nga, you will not be selecting which animal you will mate, but rather randomly, depende sa kanila kung sino yung kamate nila and kung paano sila mag-breed. Okay? Now, the next question is related to this concept, panmixia. So, this is a form of non-random mating except. So, we are looking for a mating that is non-random, which means something that is random. Diba? So, ano ba ang non-random? Siyempre, random, logically speaking, right? So, we are looking for a mating type that is random, and nasabi ko sa inyo kanina, ang sagot doon ay panmixia. So, it is a random mating kung saan yung animals, inulit ko, sa population natin, they have an equal probability of mating with each other regardless sa kung ano yung genetic background or kanilang physical trait. So, yung example natin kanina, kapag mayroon kang free-range beef cattle herd, tapos hinayaan mo lang silang mag-breed, that is panmixia. Now, let's talk about this. Assortative mating, disassortative mating, and inbreeding. Para maliwanagan tayo kung ano naman itong mga concepts na to. So, assortative mating simply means you choose to breed two animals with similar traits. So, for example, mayroon kang babaeng cattle, which is mayroon kang cow na ang pinaka-characteristic niya is mataas ang kanyang milking capacity. And then, mayroon kang male na cow na ganun din. Mataas rin ang kanyang milk capacity. Of course, kapag male, hindi siya naggagatas. Pero yung mother niya, mataas ang milk capacity. So both of them has these traits of high milk volume. Kung mag-produce, pinag-mate mo sila, assortative mating po ang tawag doon. Of course, in contrast, kapag sinabi naman nating disassortative mating, we are choosing mates that are different in certain traits. So for example, we have our sheep na let's say orange yung color, and then imimate natin siya sa ating another sheep na white yung color para mas maging mix yung kanilang kulay, or gusto natin ng mas variety sa color ng kanilang wool. Disassortative mating po ang tawag dyan. How about yung last term natin, inbreeding? Inbreeding means you are breeding closely related animals. This can increase the probability of offsprings inheriting genetic disorders. So yun yung danger ng type of mating na to. But it can also fix certain desirable traits within a population, and it can also maintain a particular trait na gustong i-maintain ng ating farmer. So for example, sa chicken, mayroon kang blue na chicken. So iminate mo siya sa isang white na chicken and nagkaanak siya ng dalawang blue chicken. And gusto natin i-maintain yung kulay na blue sa mga manok na to. So ang gagawin mo, pagmimitin mo yung brother and sister para makapag-produce ka mo ng more likely ng mga chicken na blue yung kanilang kulay. So yan naman yung concept ng inbreeding. Next question. Milk production in cows and egg production in quails are examples of economically important traits which are known as maternal effects, sex influence, sex-limited, or sex-linked traits. So yung milk production sa cow and yung egg production sa quail, these are examples of maternal effect trait, sex influence trait, sex-limited trait, or sex-linked trait. Ang sagot dyan, sex-limited trait. Ngayon, ang gagawin ko sa question na to, these three are related already. Therefore, letter A now will be eliminated from the set of answers. So, ang pag-uusapan natin, ano-ano ba yung mga types of sex inheritance? Okay? And we have three types of sex inheritance based on this question as well. We have sex-limited, sex-influence, and sex-linked inheritance. So, unahin kong i-discuss sa inyo yung sex-linked inheritance. Yung sex-linked inheritance, nangyayari yan sa sex chromosome ng hayop. Whereas itong dalawa na nandito, yung limited and influence, nangyayari yan sa kanilang autosomes. Remember, when we're talking about chromosomes, when we're talking about chromosomes, meron tayong two types of chromosomes. We have sex chromosomes, which is the X and Y chromosome ng hayop, and we have the autosomes, which compose the rest of the chromosomes that dictates yung ating physical feature. So kapag sinabi mong sex-linked inheritance, ang nangyari, yung particular gene or yung particular trait, na-associate siya with genes located in either X or Y. So for example, a particular trait, let's say sa tao, mostly nangyayari to sa mga diseases may particular disease na mostly attributed lang siya sa X chromosome. So yung sakit na yon, kapag babae ka dahil dalawa ang X mo, you are more likely to have that disease as compared kapag lalaki ka kung saan XY ang sex chromosome mo. So yun yung sex-linked chromosome. The trait can be associated with genes located on your X or Y chromosome. So for example, yung hemophilia sa certain horses, ito yung hemophilia na sakit, they are mostly linked on your X chromosome. So ibig sabihin yan, yung horses natin na XX or yung female horses natin, they are more likely to develop hemophilia, which is basically difficulty in blood clotting, yung bigla-bigla na lang dumudugo yung hayop sa kanilang sa butas na nasa katawan nila, like ears, nose, and eyes. So mas mataas ang probability magka-hemophilia ang isang hayop na babae kasi XX siya, and sa X nga nakalink yung sakit na yon kaysa sa lalaki. Yan yung tinatawag nating sex-linked inheritance. How about these two? So limited and influence. So again, sa autosomes to nangyayari. Kapag sinabi nating the trait is sex-limited, okay, ito yung phenomenon kung saan nandun yung trait. Pero kapag lalaki ka or babae ka, bigla siyang mag-on or mag-off. So for example, yung trait ng pagkakaroon ng gatas sa mga cow. Now, yung trait na yon, hindi lang siya present sa mga cow. Present din siya sa mga bulls, sa mga lalaki na cattle. However, kapag bull ka, itong trait na to, nagsha-shutdown, nag-off. Kaya siya tinawag na sex-limited. O isa pang example, yung pangingitlog ng ating mga quails. Both male and female, may characteristic sila, may trait sila ng pangingitlog. Hindi yun mawawala. Kasi very important yan sa survival ng kanilang species. However, kapag lalaking quail ka, hindi ka pwedeng mangitlog. So, nagte-turn off yun. Pero kapag babaeng quail ka, nagte-turn on yon. Kaya siya tinawag na sex-limited. Kaya ang tamang sagot kanina, when we're discussing, remember, milk production in cows and egg production in quails, this is sex-limited. Nandun yung trait sa both sex, but it is turned on in one sex and it is turned off in another sex. So think of it as limitado lang siya on a particular sex. So yon. How about sex influence? Ang sex influence inheritance naman is nangyayari rin sa autosomes, but then nakadepende siya doon sa level of hormones. So for example, yung ating deer or goat, okay? Yung ating goat, yung mga lalaking goat, which is your ram, mataas ang testosterone level nila, kaya naman yung paglaki ng kanilang sungay ay lumalaki rin ng pagkalaki-laki. So it is the testosterone level influence now the growth of their horns. However, for female goats, ano ba ang female goat? Your doe, hindi ganun kataas ang testosterone level nila. Nagkakasungay sila, pero maliit lang. Because it is affected by their lower quantity of testosterone sa kanilang katawan. So, you kind of think of it that sex influence, ini-impluensyahan niya yung trait and nagkakaroon ng, kumbaga parang gradation, depende doon sa amount ng hormone na present doon sa lalaki and or doon sa babaeng hayop natin. So, klaro? Yun naman, ito yung three types of sex inheritance: limited, influence, and linked. Now again, kapag sinabi natin itong sex inheritance na to is nangyayari lang sa sex chromosome, automatic, sex-linked inheritance yun. Kapag nangyayari sa autosomes, it would be either limited or influence. Kapag it turns on or off a particular trait based doon sa sex ng hayop, it is sex-limited. Kapag naman it is being adjusted or it depends on what hormone is present, it is sex-influence inheritance naman. For our last two questions, related to, and more than likely para lang tong trivia. Okay? So for example, which of the following breed of livestock or poultry was not? So alin daw dyan ang hindi dinevelop ng Filipino animal breeders at the UP College of Agriculture in the 1920s? So what we're looking for is something that is not developed by Filipino breeders. Perkhala pigs, Los Baños Cantonese chickens, Peking duck, or Philamin cattle. Ang sagot dyan is Peking ducks. Okay? Peking ducks were not developed by our Filipino animal breeders in the UP College of Agriculture. Ang Peking duck ay isang breed of domestic duck that originated where? It originated in China and were introduced to various parts of the world for their meat production. So mataas ang growth rate and tender ang meat ng Peking duck, kaya naman popular choice siya for commercial duck meat farming. How about the other choices? Berkhala pig. This is a breed developed in 1920 at the UP College of Agriculture. It is a crossbreed known for its hardiness and adaptability, and it has been used for improving local pig populations. So ang Berkhala pigs natin, yan yung isa yan sa mga native pig breeds natin that is known for its sturdiness. Matitibay sila although maliliit. Okay? How about Los Baños Cantonese chicken? So, very, kwan na yan, very obvious, di ba? Ang UP College of Agriculture nasa Los Baños, Laguna yan. So, ang Los Baños Cantonese chicken, dinevelop rin yan doon. It is known for its good egg production and adaptability to local conditions. How about your Philippine cattle? It is also a cattle breed developed by UP College of Agriculture, primarily for their high milk production, and they are parts of an effort para i-improve yung local dairy farming natin. Remember, mababa ang production natin ng milk or ng dairy dito sa Pinas, kaya din na-develop yung breed na Philippine cattle to combat that problem. This one, related to the first question. He is the one who led the team who bred the Philippine cattle, Cantonese chicken, and Berkhala pig in 1920. Siya ay professor sa UP. Sa UP Los Baños, ang pangalan niya ay si Bienvenido Maria Shoko Gonzalez. Okay, so that's it for our animal science test drill. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something new na magagamit nyo sa exam ninyo. Good luck and God bless, mga learners.